post now that one.
Tell them to come in.
You good? You got it? All right, y'all. Come on back in. Come on back in. Come on back in. There we are. We back online, everybody. We back on. Y'all come on back. Come on back. Come on back. Like, and share this information. We want everybody and their mama to hear what it is that we're talking about tonight. Okay? For those that was on the other one, look here. Pick up the phone. Start calling folk and letting them know. Tune in. Because we're going to be talking. We're talking about, as I said earlier, isms. Savannah is a beautiful city with a dirty, dark secret of isms, racism, classism, nepotism, cronyism. What's the other ism? Somebody in the audience help me. Classism. What? Imperialism. Wow, you went all the way back with that one. Imperialism. But colonialism. Oh man. Oh my God. Well, that's where it all started at. But anyway, y'all, like I said, what you hear on this podcast is not necessarily the opinion of yours truly, your host, Alicia Miller Blakely, JP, our director. That doesn't took me all off course. Maestro, our musical director. It is the opinion of our guests. If they say something that you don't like, by all means, please don't go out in the community and spread negativity. You know, I would tell you to pick up the phone and give us a call, but you can pick up the phone and give us a call. But put it in the comments. It won't be able to put it on the speaker because we don't have the speaker with us. We are not in the studio. We're in a totally different location. Okay? So I'm asking our guests and the audience to speak up. If there's something, you're going to be reading the comments?
Yeah, I can keep up.
Okay, please keep up with the comments. Now,
hold on. We got to do this the right way.
Oh, go ahead, okay.
Port to Port Music Group, please. That's
yes.
PORT, the number 2, PORT Music Group on all platforms. Please like, share, download the content. You can go on porttoportmg.com. You can also view all this stuff from the website as well. If you want to book studio time, if you want to get photo shoots, videos, we got you. If you need to do podcasts, we got you. If you want to sponsor the show, you can call me at 912-358-6585, or you can email at porttoport2019@gmail.com. That's PORT, the number 2, PORT 2019@gmail.com. Shout out to Royal Blunts for always holding us down. Shout outs to Savannah State for always holding us down on the sponsorship side of things. And y'all make sure y'all tune in. Listen up live every Monday. Every Tuesday, of course, by us, for us with Miss Alicia Blakely. Every Wednesday, Bitter Rivals Radio. And every Thursday, Talk Your Ish with Doc Wild, Queen Cougar, and Pope Pimp. Y'all make sure y'all tune into that. I just want to make sure. Oh, and of course, as we do every week, if y'all can, send donation, port to port. What it is? Port to Port Music. $sign Port to Port Music. You know, we bring y'all the information. We want to make sure the information get disseminated to y'all properly. In order to do that, we got to keep the roof over our heads, the lights on in the building, and make sure things running properly. Shout out to everybody who always looking out for us. We really appreciate it. That's all I got.
Okay,
I'm gonna put the information in a comment as well too. Oh, and shout out to the audience too. If y'all don't mind, could y'all give yourselves a hand? This is the first time we did this show in front of a live audience, and we really appreciate everybody for coming out and offering y'all's input and showing how much you care about the city and the issues that go on in the city. So I'm real excited to start this conversation, with everybody else. So Port to Port Music, y'all make sure y'all mess with us. Let's get it popping.
All right, y'all. Guess what? I'm not gonna tell you no word of lie. I'm tired. We have been at it since last week Friday, nonstop. since last week, Friday, nonstop. Myself, Alderwoman Gibson Carter, Alderwoman Lanier. I don't know about anybody else, but I know what time and energy and effort we have put into representing, speaking up for the people here in the city of Savannah. I want to shout out Pretty Eyes, Kenya Jones, Lakeisha Smart, Miss Lynette Renee Thaxton, Cheryl Swan, Dr. Tanya Howard Hall, Julius Hall, Stephanie Ellison, Sandra Sidney Latson Deloach, Julius Hall. Did I say that name already? Yes. Thank you. So I'll let y'all know I'm tired, okay? Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We about to get this conversation started, but first of all, I want to say today was a very painful and hurtful day. When I looked at Facebook, you know, sometimes if it's not on your mind, you don't remember certain things, but it was brought to my attention today that today was the day that we laid Chantre Puff Grant to rest. You know, he was one of the individuals that used to fight for justice. I created the Bullhorn Crew, and I passed the bullhorn on to him because I knew that it was something else I had to do. Unbeknownst to me, never thought in a million years that this young man would lose his life to gun violence, the main thing that he was fighting against in our community. It goes back even further. You know, it's just a shame that we here in 2022 still fighting issues that we were fighting back in the 50s, the 60s. Heck, I even go back as far as slavery. It makes absolutely no sense. I ask these young men to come and tell their stories because, you know, a lot of times what happens is if it's not in your back door, if it's not in your family, if it does not affect you directly, then you don't want to have nothing to say, or you don't want to deal with the situation. Well, we need you to understand what's happening in our city. Now, I have a young man sitting next to me. We call him Frequency. Seymour?
Yes, ma'am.
Seymour Frequency. Seymour is going to tell you some of the stories that I've been told, because I tell people all the time, I can't tell your story better than you can. When he finishes, then we're going to go to Anthony Green.
His stories are related to stories that of
Police brutality.
Police brutality. Thank you.
Violence, right.
And gun violence and all kinds of just stories that happen in his community, but mainly police brutality. Am I correct?
Correct.
All right, let's have this conversation. I'm gonna let you have you start telling your story. Remember what I told you now. You got to speak up loud.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I'm Frequency Seymour, like she said, and what happened was after the young man got shot, there was another officer who I guess was on the scene, Officer Alan Contreras.
Let me say this, and y'all, we call the names.
Yeah.
We call the names, because if you big and bad and bold enough to do it, then you big and bad and bold enough to be called out about it. Okay, go ahead, baby.
Yeah. Make sure anytime you get pulled over, first of all, that you ask the officer for his badge number or his card. Officer Alan Contreras is an officer who has multiple reports of doing wrong by different citizens. He has been reported to Internal Affairs over 25 times. He just came off we found out he just came off of desk duty recently. I posted that Officer Alan Contreras, and I got an overflow of different people saying that they had run-ins with this officer. This morning I got an inbox from our Fathers United page talking about how the young lady was pulled over. She said, "Good morning. I wasn't sure whether to send an inbox or email, so I'll probably do both. This is in reference to the officer you posted. 2 nights ago, we were pulled over for a tail light that was out. We explained to the officer who pulled us over that his carry is blowing out. We also showed him proof of the tail light that we had purchased. He informed us that he would not be writing us a warning and allowing us to go, seeing that we were working in the issue. Next thing you know, 2 more officers pulled up. The officer approached the vehicle and asked for my ID as well as at the time, the passenger. Next, he told my boyfriend to step out of the vehicle. He asked why he had to step out. The officer never answered him, but repeatedly told him to step out after arguing back and forth. The officer threatened to remove him from the vehicle while he finally got out. They took him behind the car. Then the other officer came and told me to exit the vehicle. He searched my purse and next to K9 unit, showed up to sniff the vehicle where they found absolutely nothing. I asked him why he was searching the vehicle if he had a probable cause. He said yes. They had the right to search anyone they pulled over. This is what Officer Contreras told them. I have reports of people saying, I got a case against him right now. The young man said that he was standing inside his backyard when Officer Contreras came into the fence across from him and asked him what he was doing in his own backyard. We have a young man who says, this is the officer that patrols Yamacraw. They walk around like a gang with AR-15s. He stopped me in Liberty City because he said I went over the white line by Frazier Homes. He unlawfully searched me and my property. He's also been picking on my cousin for months in the area. This is another officer. The officer who killed the young man Friday actually was picking on that young man, had multiple run-ins with the young man. Mm-hmm. So he already knew the young man probably had a license to carry. Mm-hmm. And so he initiated it in attempts to probably take the young man's life. Mm. I had a young lady say he is very aggressive. I personally made complaints to have him removed from the Cali Brownsville area. Mm-hmm. It's been a stuff.
Let me say this. Now, I want this understood before anybody goes out there and say, oh, Alderwoman Blakely is knocking the police. No, I'm not. I'm not knocking the police at all. We need the police. But what we don't need, if you have an officer that has had 25 internal affairs complaints against him or her, then something is wrong. If y'all hear me talk all the time about inclusionary and diverse person, we need somebody like that. I'm talking about it all the time because I've even experienced a situation where an officer tried to talk down to me when we were at a location. And you know, if we don't have diversity training and inclusion, because you got officers coming from all over the country, what I've noticed in Savannah is an influx of officers that's not from here. Here we are, a city that's 53.9% African American. But we have a police force that's 70% Caucasian. So that means what? Something is wrong. So I'm going to say it like this right here. We on City Council have been asking to get a meeting, what is it called? Executive session. Thank you so much. To have an executive session so that we could discuss what's going on in our city. And we are told, no, we don't want to do that right now because it's not a healthy council. How the heck is not a healthy council? Guess what? How many more people got to die before we do something? Before we actually address this issue? The buck stops here, Savannah. The buck stops here. If we know that an officer is doing something that he is not supposed to do, then that situation needs to be addressed. I am told that the situation that happened in Carver Village, that this officer was taken from that area because of the way he was treating people. He was gone for 1 month. And then they allowed him to come back. To come back. And look at what happened to Saudi Lee, the young man, 31 years old. This young man was an advocate, an activist. Okay? From my understanding, and I don't know if that is the case because I was not there, I'm told, and the GBI said it in their comment. You can go to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation on Facebook. They said that the young man was reaching for his license to carry. As a matter of fact, let me read it, because I did. Now, this came from the GBI, Savannah. Okay? Hold on, let me find it. All right, Georgia Bureau of Investigation. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation is investigating an officer-involved shooting in Savannah, Georgia. The Savannah Police Department asked the GBI to conduct an independent investigation on June 24, 2022. 1 man has died. No officers were injured. Preliminary information indicates that at around 11:50 a.m., officers were patrolling an area near Gwinnett Street and Crosby Street when they noticed an individual walking in the middle of Gwinnett Street. Officers approached Saudi Arad Lee, 31, of Savannah to speak with him. Lee immediately showed his wallet, saying it contained his weapons permit. Lee lifted his shirt and pulled the weapon from a holster. A short chase ensued, and Lee was shot by an officer. Medical aid was rendered on scene. Lee was taken to Memorial Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead. The GBI Medical Examiner's Office will perform an autopsy. Agents recovered a handgun and holster from the scene. The GBI will conduct an independent investigation. Once complete, the case will be given to the Eastern Judicial Circuit District Attorney's Office for review. The GBI said the young man said, "I have a permit to carry." If he's saying I have a permit to carry, what happened? What happened, y'all? Something is wrong. I'm going to let Mr. Anthony Green tell his story, which is heartbreaking. I have the pictures of what happened to this young man. I'm not going to even tell him. I'm going to let you tell it, Mr. Green. Go ahead. You got to speak up now.
It was Thursday afternoon, June 23rd, coming from my daddy's house, hauling that hill, coming across Waters, like 40th and Waters Avenue. You don't have to turn or do nothing. You just come straight across. Coming on, crossing my car. To my right, when I'm going across, I seen the police car coming down like maybe 2 blocks. So I kept on going. I'm like in half of the block. He done sped up, had to. Got behind me, just cut on the lights. So when he cut on the lights, I rolled down and I made a turn like the 40th and Live Oak and just pull on over because, you know, I had my license, everything, just wondering why he pulled me over. The time I got to roll my window down, it was 2 of them, one on the driver's side, one on the passenger side. So I proceeded to roll my window down. First thing he say, is there any weapons in the vehicle? I'm like, nah, ain't no weapons in the vehicle. So I asked him why he pulled me over. He said I ran the stop sign. So I was like, nah, I ain't ran the stop sign because I sat there at the corner talking to like my daddy and my cousin for a while. So I was at a complete stop before I even went across. So he said, first thing he started opening my door, asking me, can I get out? I said, I'm not getting out my vehicle because you yet to tell me what you pulled me over for. So I went to get for my license to give to him while he had my door. He jumped on my back and my neck, choked me out, hit me on the side of my face like about 3 times, instructed the other officer to grab my feet and pull me out the car. So he was on my back, the other officer pulled me out from my feet. So when they snatched me out, hit my knees and everything, the other officer who was on my back, choking me, pushed me down on my elbows, scrapes and all, knees, and put his knee on my back, so I went down. You know, I'm on my stomach and everything, got my hands behind my back. So then he instructed the officer to shoot me. The officer shot me on the side. You know, I'm thinking I thought it was a gun because it was loud and it hit me. Once it hit me, it burned. on my side, you know what I'm saying? I'm wiggling, because I ain't never been shot or nothing with nothing. So I'm wiggling, telling him, like, why you shot me? I ain't had nothing. You know, I'm asking him and all, so he instructed the officer to shoot me again, but this time hold the trigger. And when he shot me this time with the taser and hold the trigger, it was electrocuting me. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm shaking and everything, and he still got his knee in my back and everything on the ground. So after that, people started coming outside. That's the only way the police was called. They never called the police for like 20 minutes. They had me out there on the ground, his knee in my back. The other one that shot me twice with the taser. And so when the other officers started coming, that's when they set me up. They had the handcuffs. I was just sitting, you know, other officers coming, and they started trying to snatch the prongs of the things out, because I guess they shot me too many times with it, you know, with the taser. You know what I mean? So they started snatching out my back. They left one in my thigh, but that one only got found when I went to the hospital and everything. So during that time, though, officers and everything done came. I'm telling them that this man just, you know, choked me, hit me out. They could see everything, all the bruises and everything. And so they trying to find and see if something in my car. It wasn't nothing in my car. You know what I mean? So they just threw it up for nothing. And he pulled me over for nothing. You know, later I found out when I went to the hospital and everything, they never treated me or nothing for my wound. The officer gave me a paper saying I'm free to go. I could leave right now. So everybody who came around me they just walked around me, and I told the nurse who was there that you know what I mean? They say I could leave or whatever. I was in pain. Can anybody give me something? She just like, no, and I could go to exit that way. So I just walked on out, and I went to Cameron Hospital the following day to get treatment or whatever, to let them know that when I went to Memorial Medical Center after the officer arrested me, they didn't give me no treatment. So they treated me and everything. They said I had taser injuries and stuff like that. You know, so and that's from then on.
Did they even charge you with anything?
He charged me with a turn signal. That's what's on the paper. A turn. I didn't make a turn. Put my turn signal on, which going across 4 different waters, you don't need a turn signal.
Because you're not turning.
I'm not turning. So that's on the paper that he had when they say I could be released. That's on there, me not turning, and that's a lie. You know?
And you know what's crazy? I had somebody do a data analysis on all Officer Alex Contreras' arrest reports, and it came back like 92% of his arrests are black men between the ages of 12, as young as 12 years old, and 39 years old. It's a spike, like a pyramid, and then everything else up to 72 is low. It's also 85% black males. If you look at all the stops, most of them are DUI, less something. So basically what he's doing is he is stopping you for something like a tail light or running a stop sign, something that you really can't prove. You know what I'm saying? It's your word against his. Then what he'll do is he'll try to get you for a DUI. If he can't get you for that DUI, he's going to charge you for DUI less. Right. Now, once he pull you out that car, it's at his discretion to do whatever he want to do in your car. Once he go inside your car, he gonna say that you was charged with, that he found cocaine or something small. But all the instances most of the time are so small that you don't even have to send it to the crime lab or once you go to court, they throw it out. Right. So now they throw it out. You probably happy because they threw it out, but not realizing when they go run your background check, now say you had a DUI and a controlled substance on your background check. Mm-hmm. So now
you can't get a job. You can't.
And it gives the officers a reason to search you when they pull you over, when they run your name and see that you had drugs or cocaine. Mm-hmm. So now he got a reason for his other homeboys that's in his gang to pull you over, because they're a gang. If you walking through Yamakro with AR-15s, why? If you got people that you pulling over, he took a young lady, he illegally arrested her on Mother's Day. On Mother's Day. She doesn't have any record, never had any trouble with the law at all. Say he smelled alcohol. She passed the first sobriety test. She refused to take the second one because she felt wrong. She felt like he was going to do something with it. Mm-hmm. She put him behind. He put her behind the car, went back to her car and did something out of camera view, which in Savannah, they do not have to wear cameras. They don't have to wear badge cameras. For some reason, I don't know why they don't have to wear badge cameras in Savannah.
I don't know if that's the case. We bought a lot of cameras for them to have on cameras.
I was told the other day they don't even have to have them on.
No.
In Georgia,
no,
they say
that's not the case. That's not the case.
So we need to figure out why all these officers don't have badge cameras on at all times. Because look how much footage of all these shootings that we have that has not been released yet to the public. You know, it was a young man got shot in Sandfly a couple years back. They said the young man had a BB gun. But they said the young man shot an officer first. So who shot the officer? Because obviously the person who shot the officer is who caused the young man to get shot. Right? This is the type of things that go on in our community because they don't have the right officers policing us.
Exactly.
They bring Officer Contreras from Michigan, I think, or something like that. You know, he's 28 years old, I think. He young. So 9 times out of 10, he came from a racist background for him to be just 90% of African Americans.
You know what, I say this all the time, and the young lady that experienced that situation where she had to deal with that, I want you to come, baby, pull your seat up so you can tell your story as well. When you all hear me talk, you hear me talk about diversity training and inclusion. I'm constantly talking about it because true indeed, these individuals are coming from all over.
Let me ask a question. How do you even know, like, how many people or how many people that's actually from Savannah actually try to join the police force? Is it because of a lack of people not trying to join the police force?
You know what I think?
What
I think is when people actually go to join the police force, for some strange reason, it's the police force and our fire department. They always say that we here in Savannah cannot pass a test. Now, what is on that test that people here in Savannah can't pass it? Because for many years, we've been passing it. Now, all of a sudden, we can't pass the test. Now, y'all, I know this is a hard conversation that we're having, but it's a conversation that's needed.
You know, this just running through my mind as you said that, you know, most times in education, if a large group of people can't seem to pass the test, at some point, in order to get more people to come in, if you want people from Savannah to come in, at some point, do you change what's on the test?
Exactly.
And if that's not being done, then I'm just going to call it as it is. It seems that it is a deliberate attempt by Savannah Police Department to not hire people from Savannah. That's problem number one. But number two is, for those proponents of increasing police funding, and mind you, we pay taxes on it, right? We pay taxes, right? Why should we get more to the Savannah Police Department if they're going to keep doing this? Why am I paying for my own self-destruction? So this is my thing. We want to talk about solutions. And I've been thinking about this all day. Basically, we can do this. We could, all the officers who have these these grievances, yeah, fire them all. Just fire them all. I get 20 or more. How many grievances do you rack up in a given year? Just if you take everyone who got all these grievances, fire them. When you do that, you can start that recruitment campaign. But to do the recruitment campaign, you know why you have such a hard time recruiting people to become police officers? Because police officers are known for killing everyone, especially us. So,
well, you know what? When you say that, in my opinion, and I'm not an expert at all, in my opinion, what I think is the reason we don't have the right type of police in our city, like you said, it's deliberate. It's deliberate. The reason we don't have the right type of individuals on our fire department is deliberate. The reason we don't have the right type of people working in certain positions in our government is deliberate. Okay? So, we need to have somebody, which is, I'm your elected official, so I'm going to be asking these questions. I'm going to be asking, let me see this test. Let me see the application. Why can't individuals from our city pass the test?
So basically, just so I got a complete understanding of this, it's a lot of people from Savannah that try to take these tests but don't pass them.
Exactly. For one reason or another, I'm told that they can't pass the test because of a background. Because one time, maybe 5-10 years ago, they might have smoked marijuana or something like that.
I got a question though. Why is it that so many police officers get fired in one city or one state and can come here and work?
That's a lot of them. That's what they do.
Yeah, why can't they? How can you get fired from the police station? That means you're a bad cop, right?
If you got fired,
Yeah,
something's wrong.
so you wouldn't hire another employee at your other McDonald's if they was bad at your other McDonald's.
Exactly.
So why are we hiring cops that got fired from other jobs in other cities?
Most
Yes,
officers.
I would like to see the data and the statistics, because see, I don't like to talk about information that I don't know exactly what's happening.
I got data on how many people was arrested that was black. I got charged.
I know about that. I'm talking about as far as how many people from Savannah is actually trying to get in. How many people passed versus how many people failed. How many people came from out of town, and what were the stipulations behind that? See, I don't know none of that. You know what I mean?
It's not that they're not passing the test, it's just that they're not scoring high enough. They all pass the test.
Right, but see,
They're not scoring high enough.
No, the reason I
had
had
a police officer for 10 years.
Oh, got you.
So I help most of the guys that's retiring now,
Right.
because they could not pass the test. I mean, they could not score in a high percentage of it.
Right,
So we had study sessions before they went to take the test.
right.
And I mean, it was about 40 or 50 of us on it. So they weren't scoring in the high 90s. And these guys from out of town, coming from the military, from Wyoming and Nebraska and Ohio and South Dakota, they all come here from the military, and they get out of the military and they come here as police officers.
Right.
And that's who were scoring the highest. These guys got hired first.
Right.
So that's what the problem is.
So let me ask you this, Julius, because you know, what is on that test that a military person would know that a regular person that's from this city would not know?
It's just regular questions, aptitude tip questions that you just got to be familiar with. And if you're not, and all you ever did was live here, and you don't have that advanced education, higher level education to really know some of the things, then you miss it by 2 or 3 questions. Some of these guys will miss it by 2 or 3 questions, and a guy making 90 and you making an 87, and you don't get in.
And on top of that, you get extra points, if I'm not mistaken, if you have the military background.
Correct.
And I say this at the end of the day, right? You can't retrain a white supremacist. That's all to it. You can't retrain. See, why I got to train you on how to treat me? You can't. I don't care on any police force in America. You cannot retrain a white supremacist. And we'll send them whether they be from Wyoming, right here, Savannah, wherever they're from. It's just in them.
Right.
The bottom line is, y'all, we have a problem in our city. We have a problem in our city. The problem nobody wants to talk about, nobody wants to address. Savannah could be a model city. A model city. We used to have a program called Model City Savannah back in the day. And we never had the rate of crime that we have. We never had the rate of police brutality. Homelessness is running rampant in our city, and it's sad what's happening. As I look around, I know we can do better. We can change the trajectory of what's happening in our city with the stroke of a pen. Am I correct? Alderwoman? Am I correct? Yes, I am. It's real sad. Sweetheart, I want you to tell your story. Can you? Pull your chair up and let's hear your story. Y'all, we letting y'all hear what's been happening in our city. I don't give a care what nobody say. I'ma say it. You ain't got to like it, but I'ma say it. I don't believe that young man should have lost his life.
No.
I don't believe that young man should have lost his life.
That's one thing you have to look at too, and I've been noticing, I've been here all my life. The majority of the police force are officers of Caucasians. You understand? You're not going to tell me that we came up in Savannah, a lot of us, and these people coming from different states like y'all just mentioned, know little about our culture. You understand? And just assume that everybody, all young men, just like, but like my brother said over there, you can't retrain a supremacist. Some of these folks that were at the Capitol were police officers, they were judges, they were, even Clarence Thomas' wife was there. You understand? So it's a thing that's going on all across the country. You understand?
And this attitude, when you get an officer from everywhere else coming here and they're not used to black people.
Exactly.
And then you're talking about, this is what an officer's supposed to do. You're supposed to protect and to serve.
Yes.
You are not there to cite and arrest. Your job is not to cite and arrest. Your job is to protect and to serve. And then cite and arrest if necessary. But these officers come with this one track mind that they're looking to make sure that they cite and arrest. And that's not what we're paying for. I'm a tax-paying citizen. I don't need you harassing me every time I turn the corner.
One young lady said she filed 23 grievances against Officer Alice Contreras. Said that he would wait around the corner and wait for her son to come out the house 13 different times, messing with this young man. I'm
going to tell you all something that happened. This happened at Kmart when it was on Victor Drive over here. And I parked, I had a 78 Oldsmobile, and it was a 78 Delta 88. And the cars at that time, you put the handicap decal in the one that had a little space there, right? Cop came up behind me, you understand? I'd almost made it in the store. He said, "Hey, you, come here." I didn't know who he was talking to, you understand? So he just persisted. So I came back, I said, "What's the problem?" He said, "What you doing in the handicap spot? You don't look handicapped to me." Man, I had 10 spinal surgeries.
Come on now.
Listen, and then, it went from one thing to another. He said, "Well, I don't care, I'm gonna give you a ticket anyway." You understand? And then I realized what I was dealing with. So I started talking louder so I can get some attention. All right? So people started gathering around and listening to what was going on. He threatened to take me to jail, this, that, and the third. You understand? So I said, "Well, call your sergeant." Call the sergeant. You understand? The sergeant said, "Well, is this your car?" I said, "Yes, it is. This is your car. You got a license?" Hand me my license. Sergeant now. And he said, "Well, let me see your decal." I gave him a decal. He said, "All right, you give me that ticket back that the first officer had written me, and I'll give you your license and your decal back." I said, "No, I'm not going to do that," because I knew that ticket was my only proof. I don't think it's one African-American male in Savannah that hasn't had an episode or incident with a police officer. But here's my thing. I wasn't going to let it go like that. I called a friend of mine and called his name. This went on for a minute. You understand? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. you know, but I just made sure that I had attention on him. You understand? I wrote the mayor at the time was, I don't know if I should say who it was or not,
Well, you can say it.
Floyd Adams.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote the sergeant at the precinct, and I wrote just about everybody I could here in Savannah. You understand? I didn't get a response for almost 6 months. You understand? I went to the internal affairs. I still didn't get a response. So I said, okay, no response. I went to U.S. Department of Justice. I went online, pulled up what I needed to pull up, and I filed a complaint. It was after almost a year. And I got somebody that called me back. I called them and said, well, you know, I'm sorry, but your information went to the wrong person. But I got a meeting today with some higher ups, and I'm going to present this to them. I'm not going to guarantee you they're going to look into it or not. Lo and behold, that afternoon, he called me back. You understand? He said, okay, they gave me permission to investigate it. Long story short, the whole Savannah Police Department had to take. He said, well, you're not getting no monetary damage, benefits of money. I said, it's not about the money. It's the principle of the matter. You understand? I got a letter home right now on silk paper. I said, I want an apology. You understand? I got my apology. Those are one of the conditions. I wanted that. And besides that, the whole Savannah Police Department had to take a sensitivity class.
Okay.
See? So you have to go outside of Savannah to get anything done in certain cases. Because you can go to internal affairs,
And they're not doing nothing.
they all gonna look out for each other. And I just want to throw that in there, you know.
Well, you know what, as your...
This actually happened. I can show you the letter right now today where but what happened was the first cop threw the sergeant under the bus because they didn't know his name. But he actually wrote a report and put the sergeant's name on the report.
2 juveniles just shot Montgomery and Dept.
Say what? Oh, Lord have mercy.
Were they, do we know if they were shot by the police?
Oh, no.
We don't know.
But again, I just want to throw that out there. Sometimes you have to go outside of Savannah to higher up to get things done because they all want to
You're
click.
not going to investigate.
Well, what happens is people need to know that they have rights.
Exactly.
People need to know that they have rights. You know, if you're being pulled over by the police and you don't feel like you're being treated justly, then you have the right to ask that police officer to call his superior.
But they don't respect it.
They don't respect it. They will not
Person
call
say-
you if you ask them. They
When
will
a black
not call
person
you.
says-
So you know what?
And
Let me
even
say
if they
this.
call them, even if they call them, they're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Well,
They all in
listen,
it together.
this right here, this thing right here, this is your proof.
Well,
and you
we-
could call somebody, if people standing around, tell that individual to call the police, call the station, and say, we need another police, or we need the officer in charge to come on this or that street.
But in my
There's
in
ways
my-
that you
in my
can.
situation, I did that,
Mm-hmm.
and it got worse because he wanted the ticket back. You understand? The cop, the first officer wrote me a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted it back. The only way I can get my license back and decal was to give him the ticket back, the proof that he violated my rights.
Well, y'all, we got a long road to travel.
Oh yeah, it's been going on for
and
years.
it's been going on for years, but you know, enough is enough.
It is. It truly is.
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
she wanna.
But that's what he was saying, that's what happened in my situation.
You gotta speak up, baby.
I'm sorry.
Pull up closer. Pull up.
I speak up.
Okay.
That's what happened in my situation. When he stopped me, like you said, it's something you can't prove, like.
You gotta speak up, baby. They can't hear you.
Like no turn signal, like a traffic, like something that you can't prove. That's what I got stopped for.
Mm-hmm.
And then he furthermore said that I was riding with both tires over the center lane, and I was about to go ahead on with another officer.
Mhm.
And I know that didn't happen, so I was uncomfortable with him
From that point.
So when he asked me for the breathalyzer, I didn't trust it. And I asked him, can I make a phone call? He told me no.
Mhm.
I had a passenger, he made both of us get out of the car. That's the first thing he said after he ran my license. He wanted us out of that vehicle.
Mhm.
Me and my passenger. And it went from, I explained to him, I just worked 16 hours. I have two jobs. I worked
Mhm.
16 hours. And I was in Brunswick. The first 8 hours, I arrived back to the family. For the other 8,
Can you hear her?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was tired. And I explained to him that in the police report, he said it. In his initial contact, she looked lethargic. I looked that up and he's sluggish or tired. And I
Mhm.
was, and I explained that to him. I did the field sobriety test. I did everything fine. But when he asked me for that breathalyzer, it was just something like I wasn't comfortable because I didn't know how he could manipulate that test.
Mhm.
Not
And
to
I
cut her off. The reason that's relevant is because a lot of his charges are DUI charges. That's what he was awarded the honorable award for DUI charges. But less safe, which means that you can blow less than 0.8, meaning that it might not even detect it, but he can take you to jail for it.
Yeah,
What?
That's exactly what he's doing.
They could lie and say, I got one because they lied and I don't smoke weed at all.
Mhm.
But they'll say, I
They
smell
smell
weed.
marijuana. That's
And
what he's
then-
doing.
and
He has a lot of
there's
those.
no
He has
way-
a lot of those. Those are
Yeah.
the two main reasons
You
that
could
he
get a
pull you out
DUI
the
not
car.
safe for that, yeah.
Yes.
But back to what you were saying.
But yeah, he got us out of the vehicle.
Mhm.
And like I said, I did the field sobriety. I just wasn't comfortable with that breathalyzer. So I asked him, can I make a phone call?
Gotta speak up,
I
baby.
asked him, can I make a phone call? He told me no. And he said, are you going to take it? And I was just hesitant. I wasn't sure. And it was like he said, they just want an arrest. He quickly, like, without hesitation, okay, you're under arrest for DUI because you failed to take a breathalyzer. And, I broke down crying. I mean, I don't get into that kind of trouble.
It's Mother's Day now.
It's Mother's Day. It was Friday.
And you're an African American.
Yeah, and he put me in the back of the car. I didn't want to get in, but he did threaten me. He said, don't make me have to put you in here. And that's when I just went ahead and went in because I knew what that meant. So I went ahead and sat in. I asked him, why was I going to jail? He said, because you refused to take the breathalyzer. So I said, okay, I'll take it. So I said it 3 times. He went, I thought he was going to bring it, but he ended up going to the truck. And I saw him search in the truck. Next thing I know, he comes back saying he wanted to read me some rights about what he found in the truck. And he said we found crack cocaine in the truck.
Oh
And
my God.
I knew I didn't have anything in the truck, and this was the size of what came back and said I had in the truck.
Meaning he didn't even
Something
have to send it to the lab
like
for testing.
that. It was just like that small, like just like that.
And you went to jail
I went to jail for 3 days.
for 3 days.
I went Friday. I didn't get out until Monday.
On
You
Mother's
went
Day.
on Friday.
Well, on Friday night or Saturday morning, I didn't get out till Monday. I had to go before the judge because of the substance that was found.
That wasn't yours.
It wasn't there. That's all I'm
That,
saying.
right, it wasn't there. Right. That you don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
This is the same officer that
The same officer.
Oh, something has to be done by
Same officer.
Yes.
And mostly, and when you look at the data,
Put them on the
most
south
of them are
side.
the same thing.
You know, they
It could
raise
just-
white people.
And could you, I'm sorry for cutting y'all, brother Julius. You don't forget to mention as the move he made with the vehicle, yeah, backing up in it.
Yeah. Yeah, once he took me to jail, he didn't take me straight to jail. He took me, it's like right across the jail, it's a little cut or something. But he backed me into the cut, and I was afraid, because I didn't know, I was like, what is he about to do? But he backed me into like a hole.
Speak up, baby.
He backed
Speak
me
up.
into a hole, and then he started typing something into the computer. Basically, he was typing all of my charges, and he was basically, like, I don't know I guess it was the police report, because I remember the words that he was using, and he was over exaggerating, like, and it was just a lot of lies. And then he arrested me for DUI under the influence of multiple substances. So he put it as if I was on multiple substances, DUI, the crack, like I'm on it. You know, that's
Oh
how
my
he, and
God.
then it went out to the public like that. You know, it went out to the public. that way, and I was humiliated, embarrassed. My job saw it. They didn't know what was going on, so I couldn't work. Because I work around a lot of money and a lot of products and stuff, and we didn't, you know, and I can understand business wise. He wrote it as if I was on crack.
Well, you know what, dear?
Oh my God.
That happened to me. Lady hit me. She was an elderly Caucasian on Hodgson Memorial, and after they done wrote the ticket and everything, they let her go. You understand? And I'm wondering, well, hey, it looked like I should have been going first. I was in the right. He walked up to me and said, well, I smelled marijuana when I first walked up to your vehicle. Mine now, when he walked up to my vehicle, I was at the back of my vehicle, sitting on the bumper, sitting, you know, standing up, right? And what I did was, I went straight here on Boston Street and got a drug test.
Yeah, I do.
She did the same thing.
Understand?
Yeah, I did.
So that I can, you know, make sure that, you know, wasn't right.
She even went as far as to going to SCAD and asking them for the footage, and she got the footage proving that she never went over that line. So in all actuality, you would think Internal Affairs would see that footage and be like, okay, it was a false arrest.
You got to go outside, you got to.
And what he did with backing up in that hole, I'm sorry, like I told her, that was in hopes of
That she was gonna ask us.
Right, what can I do to make this go away?
Exactly.
That's what that move that was.
Like
What can I do?
Like torture, like you right in front of the jail, but you typing everything that I'm about to go to jail for.
No,
And I know they do that.
right now, you have everybody have a right and access to U.S. Department of Justice. All you have to do is pull it up. Google it on your phone, computer, or whatever. You have to go outside of Savannah, outside of Georgia.
Well, the thing now is that we need to advocate as a group of people.
A community.
Right. Well,
As a
Because
community.
it's affecting us here. This process gets us to that process because you got people that are violating our rights. This young lady should have never went to jail.
That's
Should, you know, where is your compassion? Where,
There's
you know,
none.
There's no
you know,
oversight.
we got officers that are here just to terrorize our community.
There's no
That's what
oversight.
he is.
You know,
He's a
shooting
menace to society.
as bad as it is around here, two kids getting shot just now.
Just
you
now.
want to harass people who you shouldn't even be bothering.
He giving records to
You see
people
what I'm
who
saying?
never had any run-ins with the law. So now when you run a license plate, if they are driving under their name, it's gonna come up with a record. Now you got a reason to pull them over.
That's
There's
why I
no
said,
It's all in the training. It's all
Well,
in the
and that's why I asked for diversity training and inclusionary training. And you know, like I said earlier, as your elected official, I am going to ask these questions. I am going to just say, look, enough is enough. We need to know who this person is, and you all, I thank y'all so much, because if you did not come to us with this information, then we would not know. And you can imagine how many other people have dealt with what it is that you all are dealing with right now.
Are you still
You
fighting
know?
that case?
Yeah, this just happened Mother's Day.
Mother's Day weekend in May.
You know. See, I think that also like what we doing here now in the education part. You know, up until I got to know you, I've been, you know, oblivious. I've been hood. I ain't want to have nothing to do with police. I'm just not gonna lie. Like that's how I was raised. That's what I know. I done had too many run-ins, but I got a DUI. And I got it because the officer said he smelled weed in my car. And I went to jail for a whole weekend. And see, at the time, I wasn't educated. So I didn't know to go get tests and all that other stuff. I didn't know none of that. All I knew was, man, what you talking about? I ain't had no weed in my car. Like, what you mean? You know what I mean? Oh, it smelled like weed. Then they make me do the whole test thing. And I take the breathalyzer and I passed it, but I did have, like, you know, I want to say a couple of drinks at the bar. I was coming from downtown at the time, but I didn't blow over the legal limit. You know what I'm saying? And they took me to jail for DUI, less safe. And for 2 years, I was on probation. I had to pay a bunch of fines. I had to take driving classes for something that I know this man said he smelled weed. I know for a fact. You
You
ain't
didn't have
smell.
no
I don't
marijuana
smoke.
in your car.
I don't smoke at all. Like that never been my thing. So I don't understand where you know got that idea from.
Mm-hmm.
But I said that to say that had I had the education, because not just training need to happen for the people in the police department. We have to learn how to protect ourselves
Yes.
in those
Right.
situations.
But see, I was awful when he came and told me that, I smelled marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, can I search your car? And I'm not gonna say what I told him,
Right.
but I meant what I
You
told
could
him.
imagine what
You
you
understand what I'm
told me.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what they MO is. They smell alcohol, they smell
Yeah.
marijuana just to get you out the car. And they don't do that to everybody. They just do it to
Did
us.
they do that to
And
you,
we
Anthony?
saw when they came up with
He
cameras,
had to, he
a
had
lot of
chance
people
to.
stopped.
Right.
But it got worse.
Right.
When they started wearing cameras, we figured, well, okay, things might
It's
be
crazy
better.
because when I went to jail a few times, like the sheriffs have to hold the officers accountable when they get in there. I had an officer arrest me, and he sent another officer in there to do the paperwork. When I was standing getting pictures, I told the sheriff, I said, "Hey, that's not the officer arrested me." She went and got the officer that arrested me and said, "Hey, you need to come do this paperwork, not him."
Right. Okay.
So they play those type of games. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So what do you because we said that we wanted to come together. We know the stories now. We know what
Right.
happened. We know how corrupt people could be, and there is some good officers that.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of good officers. I know quite a few of them.
I ran into a few myself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because I came up in Yamacraw too, so I know.
that's
you know
why
what
we
I mean?
being specific
How-
And there are some road-
about this one specific officer
road
right
outside.
now.
Right.
They take one at a time.
So
Yes.
what are possible solutions? And in my opinion, not from the police standpoint, but from our standpoint, to be educated, to know and understand what our rights is and what our laws is, because these young people don't know. I
So
guarantee you.
right now, that's why the ACLU has a pamphlet that they give out to people in the community that's dealing with these type of issues. So there's a group that you all have formed, Fathers United. Okay, this is something that you all can take up by contacting the ACLU saying, listen, we need these pamphlets. We need to educate our folk in our community. You understand? Because ignorance of the law is whose fault?
Your own.
Because they put the information out there. And if you don't go and get the information and something like this happens and they're saying that this is your fault, you should know. But then when you blatantly say, when you follow the letter of the law and you say, okay, officer, I need you to go and get your supervisor, and that officer says no or does not conform to what it is that you're asking him, then that's when we have a problem.
Well, see, that
Let me say something. I mean, we're going back and forth. These crackers don't care. They don't care.
Right.
They're killing us every day.
supervisors,
They kill us every day.
supervisors.
They don't care.
That's
These
it,
young
that's
boys
it.
right now, they ain't having it.
That's
It's
it.
about to be a mad basketball, and I'm gonna tell you something. It sounds cold-hearted, but it got to happen.
Yeah, it does.
If it don't happen, it's gonna continue. It's gonna continue to have the same conversation over and over.
That's-
It keep happening.
Nobody-
Well, let me
It
say
keep
this
happening.
right
I'm
here.
tired of it.
I
I'm
know-
supporting them young boys. I'm supporting them. Michael Hefner supports them 100%. Until something happen to make us stop killing our people, then it needs to happen.
Hey,
That is why we are having, hold on,
At
listen.
least we've been having this
Hold
conversation for years.
hold on, y'all. But y'all ain't had the people that y'all got in the seat right now. That y'all got. You got us here now.
Alicia,
Because
let me
ain't
say
nobody
something.
ever came
A
to the
few
table.
weeks ago, the DA, we fought to get her in the damn seat, and what she did? What did she do?
let that guy go.
She let him go.
Come on.
It's a game they're playing.
Let it go.
We tired of playing this game.
Yeah,
We gonna stop playing our own goddamn game.
Until
We gonna stop
we-
seeing the rest of them and their families. I'm telling you now.
You ain't got to cuss.
Okay, I'm upset.
I know you're upset.
If you've been through it, it will make you.
Just think about
it will
Scooter.
make
Think about
you-
Scooter that got killed in Carver Village years ago.
We keep having the
They
same
kicked in
thing,
his
man.
door and killed him.
Like,
You cannot retrain
Okay,
a white
y'all, hold on.
supremacist.
We can all sing
And white
together,
supremacy is
but we
global.
cannot all talk together. Go ahead, Carl.
Okay, what I'd like to say is that we kind of danced around the whole situation at hand. The situation at hand is that we are in the 6th month and 5, correct me if I'm wrong, 5 black men have died
Yes.
by the hands of the
Of the
police,
police,
okay?
yes.
Okay, no, hold on.
Let him
hear me
finish,
out.
let him
Hear
finish.
me out. We all got the emotion flowing, and we all have the stories about what happened. But one thing is unique, is that this does not happen in the other communities.
Right.
Okay, so we are, now, I remember, you know, when the election just happened, and, you know, everybody was jubilant, and, you know, our current mayor, he even went on the City Hall not church, but City Hall steps, and said that we're gonna collect the data, we're gonna analyze it, and then we're gonna do something. Well, now is the time to do something, and
Yes.
we need something done now. You know, because, you know,
We got to stand
you know,
up. That's what
we just need
that's
something
what we
done
got
now
to do.
before something else happens.
Right.
Because one of our leaders of the African American community, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he said that a riot is the voice of the unheard. You know, so I'm not promoting or proposing that we riot. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Right.
But one thing is true. We know that this type of police behavior does not happen in the other communities.
Not at all. Not
We're
at
not
all.
asking for nothing special. We're just asking to be treated the same
With
way the
respect
other
and
communities are
you got to
treated.
take
So it doesn't take no rocket science.
You got to
We know-
take it.
We talk about all this diversity training and whatever. You can have all of the training we want, but we want this type of police behavior to stop. Just plain and simple. That's.
Well,
pretty much all.
I understand what you're saying, but as an elected official, I'm trying to find ways to circumvent what it is that they're doing. Now, in the event, listen to me, give me a chance. In the event that nothing happens after we implement what it is we're trying to implement, then, I've done what I can do. But, and let me say this right here, it's gonna take the community as a whole. Right now, we only have how many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 of us in here. We had more, but some of them had to leave because it's getting late. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to take a community collectively as a whole. It's going to take everybody that's watching right now, if you're African American, to say, okay, enough is enough. If something is going on, then you need to pick up the phone. You need to contact your elected officials. You need to contact the chief of police. You need to contact, you know, the ones in charge, the city manager, all of those individuals. And then if nothing happens, it is what it is.
Well,
but we got to start somewhere. Like I said, you've never had an elected official to do what I'm doing right now. Tell me about one. I don't see him. I ain't never heard of him. So we're here to help. We're trying to help the situation. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
I think this is important. And you're a police officer, right?
You got to speak up, baby.
Okay. I was able to see a portion of the search internal affairs. They allowed me to come in and watch the video. The officer, he didn't even, he charged me for something this small without even picking it up, examining it. It just, he stood on the outside of the truck, and he never even, you know, if you see something, you put your gloves on, you want to pick it up and see if it may be what it was. It's nighttime. He didn't touch it. He didn't. I mean, he just saw it, came around. You have this. It was said that he tested it in the property after I went to jail. My question is, how do we trust police officers with items this small to find something? You already put somebody in jail, and even if you did see something like this in a car, what if it's not that? But you already sent somebody to jail for it. You understand what I'm saying?
You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty.
Exactly.
You know,
How do we
General,
trust them?
Yeah, he's not a physicist.
No,
So
that's
shouldn't have
why it's so important
been
that
able
you
to
get
say
the right
that
attorney.
That was my next what it was.
Yeah.
But from when I talk to other officers, they say that's perfectly legal. That officers, if you feel like you have enough experience to look at something to tell what it is.
No, officer
No.
told you that.
You know what I did?
No.
I
She
left-
had officers that used to come in her store.
Yeah.
That stopped completely coming in her store after this happened.
I left a paper
What does
trail.
that tell you about? They all know what's going on.
I left a paper trail. I went to the
together.
mayor, I went to the chief of police, I went up the chain before I went to U.S. Department of Justice.
But my question is, who policed the police in our city?
Well, they're supposed to send it off to be tested.
Who policed the police in our city?
So right now, this is where the community comes into play. This is where the community has to come into play. Because as elected officials, we can only do so much. But if you all,
You're right, because if every alderman, alderwoman, buy into what we're talking about, it can happen. The mayor really don't control, the mayor's just one vote.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying how it can happen, you have to do it through the system. You know, everybody in here, if you're from the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth district, you contact your representative and your county commission on both ends.
Yes.
So you got people who represent you who don't show up until it's time to get voted in. If they truly represented you, they'd have been there right now.
I want to
And
say
listen at your decision.
Let
I
him
want to say
finish.
this.
Okay.
No, I'm finished. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I want to say this before I leave, but it's like this. Everyone, y'all, a lot of y'all, are much older than me, right? And with the same problems are still going in Savannah. It is time to reimagine all of this. We have to think of something new because this is not working at all. And unfortunately, right now, y'all are in the minority. The people, the city councilman, woman, the city councilwoman, who cares? Y'all are in the minority.
You can count those who care on one hand.
And it's
Those who gonna really care about the citizens in
Hold on,
Savannah,
hold on,
on city
hold on, let
council,
her finish
you can
speaking.
count on one
Let her
hand.
finish speaking.
it's like this.
I'm sorry.
You need to get back in the camera, baby, so people can see.
I'm not right here.
Oh, okay. And y'all, we about to wrap this up because it's 8:57 right now. But I see Reverend Small just walked in, and I just want you to come in, and I know you've been following us while you were traveling here. But thank you so much for coming, sweetheart.
No problem.
Just want to give you a minute to say something, and then we're going to wrap this up. Because y'all, this is a conversation that we need to have. This is a conversation that was needed. A lot of people might,
Let me
you
take
can
your
sit
seat,
right here.
and then you move over a little bit. Because I got issues, immune issues. Thank you, sir. Tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of this. They're just killing us. They're just killing us.
Main point.
It's no different. It's no
Let
different.
it go cool. Let him finish.
It's no different than when they were hanging us with crowds around and then going home and doing whatever they felt like. It's no different. If they can kill us, they gon' kill us. Once they realize it's a family, that there would be no retribution, then it's open season. Now, the young people are here and they're wondering about a solution. That's what my job is. You say you have a group. I can't run as fast as I used to.
Right.
I cannot jump high as I used to. But I can think better than I used to because I have the experience. So you take your group and you wrap it around the old man. You be the president, you be the spokesperson, but you get the advice. That's how we did in Africa. We came and sat at the old man's feet for direction. And then the old man told us how to fix it. So how do you fix this? How do you fix this? You got to get to the point where there is somebody paying for what they're doing to us. As long as nobody is prosecuted, no one is held accountable, they will not only keep doing it, it will accelerate. That's what's happening now. So here's the key. We have people in office who were supposed to represent us, who lied to us to gain office, and we supported them believing the lie. So now we've got 17 months before we get a new election to get some new people. Now, I don't want nobody in here telling us how bad this is if you ain't registered to vote.
Come on.
That's the first thing. The second thing is we need to take the group. I heard them say the name of a group.
Fathers.
Okay. Let me come to your group and show you how to put together and direct the Freedom of Information Acts that we need in order to extract things that we, by our citizenship, deserve. For instance, over 2 years ago, they beat up the wrong man. Those police officers have never been held properly accountable for that. Once other police officers who are crazy see that they can get away with it, they beat us at will. Now, then all these shootings, back to back, and nobody is ever charged. And listen, Shalina Cook Jones needs to understand that she is a target. They're going to take you out, sister, by you slow rolling for them, by you holding back, by a lack of transparency. Every secret you keep for them, they're going to hold against you. That's all that we've seen this over and over again. Why can't we learn? For instance, even Mentor, who thinks he's going to be the U.S. Marshal, when you get the nomination, they start vetting you. They're going to be reading the Savannah Morning News from today, where he is a full front page, basically. The whole story saying how incompetent he is, how out of control the police department is. They have decided, after he has licked their tails, to stomp on his neck. Now, and wait a minute, because he won't be black, they're going to make him know you still black. They did it to love it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nobody carried their water better than Lovett.
What was the prior?
And he was listen. And then I told him, and I told y'all, what they did to him was still wrong. Because I don't get deluded by what you do.
Exactly.
I still know that they're going to take Mentor out because he's a nigger to them.
What's that?
Now, that might get us kicked off of Facebook for 2 minutes, but I'm just telling you up front ahead of time. You never lose that. You never lose that. So the way we can do this, first of all, is the group needs to get together to do some research with our Freedom of Information Acts to make them produce all of the videos and documents and evidence, because once they say that they're not going to indict, then it becomes public record.
That's right.
So we ain't gonna be able to get everything about what just happened this week. Okay?
But everything about Mitzi,
everything about Maurice Mitzi is now open record. Zachary is open record.
So what about the last 2 shootings that happened in December? It was 2 shootings the last week by police officers in December.
Same difference. The point of the matter is, whenever there is now, at this point, as close as those happen, as sharp as those happen, she's going to say when she's wrong. She's going to say, it's still under investigation. Why is it that in all these jurisdictions in Georgia, other than Savannah, we get the information, we get the pictures, we get the webcam. It's instantly. The police shot a young man up in Milledgeville, Georgia. Milledgeville. They shot him on Wednesday. The body cam video was released on Friday.
That's right.
The sheriff met with us, the community, on Sunday. The man was fired on Monday.
We right there with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not telling you something. This is not hypothetical. What happens to you when a policeman does something like that to you? We need to have these groups so you can come and say, hey, listen, there are people in here don't like me. He talks too much. Why he always got to be the one? Because you won't be the one.
Okay. The
reason I got to speak up is you shut up.
That's right.
And why you got to be on TV? Because you won't be on TV.
Exactly.
You scared somebody won't see you.
You want to be politically correct.
You
don't want to look a certain way in front of white folk.
In front of anybody. So here's the deal. Why you got to wait till they come to your house to say we need to get together?
Yeah.
You hear this all the time. What? The community got to come. They don't want to come together until they get to their house.
Exactly. I just said that earlier.
We got to do this if we're going to survive. Because if they kill one of my children, church is out.
And I want to say something else too. We can all, no matter how we we can disagree, but I'll say this, I say all the time. You're not my enemy and I'm not yours.
True.
But we all have a mutual enemy in this room. I don't care how, we can sit here, no matter how we may slice it or dice it. And like I said, you cannot retrain a white supremacist.
No.
White supremacy is global. That's the longest and the longest system on the planet. And it's global. You can't retrain them. And why you got to retrain somebody on how to treat us? Why we got to do that?
Y'all know what? I have to say this. I'm just reading the comments here, and my heart is really broken. My heart is broken because I see people suffering and going through what they're going through. And, people are on here saying, why is she doing that? Why is she having, talking about this?
Why are you talking about this?
Why are we having this discussion?
Because we have blood in the street.
Exactly. And Olga Musgrove, I want to tell you, thank you so much. Thank you for the comment that you made because, yeah, y'all, somebody got to say something. At the end of the day, I am chosen for a time such as this. And if you don't like it, don't get mad at me. You get mad at God because he made me this way. I ain't never going to be quiet. And that's a yeah, I said it moment. Now, yeah, I said it.
Let me slow us down for a minute.
And Reverend Smalls, we got to go.
Okay, but why are we getting criticized for caring about our people? Why are we getting criticized for caring and gathering when one of our young men has died for nothing? How do you end up dead for walking in the street?
For walking in the street.
Like you can't walk in the street.
That brother back there, he could have lost his life.
Let me close this with something. No culture would allow this to happen without a raging fight.
That's right.
But they expect us to. The agents had 4 or 5 incidents and got a measure through Congress. Got a measure through Congress in light speed. We get killed without measure. Obviously wrong. We get jailed. Look. How did she go to jail?
3 days.
But go to jail any. How did she go to jail any? Okay, the point of the matter is everybody along that line conspiratorially went along with it, and even the ones who felt like it was wrong didn't say anything because they were trying to look out for themselves for now. But the police officers who were on the police force, who went along with it and watched it, most of them were gone. Most of the city workers who come in our neighborhoods and harassed us on code enforcement, they used to be black. Just 8 months ago.
That's right.
Now, they got one black code enforcement officer left in the city of Savannah. The people didn't quit. They got quitted. Now, we need to recognize that we are in hostile territory.
Yes.
What he's saying is that we need to recognize that we might not feel like they feel about us, but we need to recognize how they feel about us.
Right.
That they actually are looking to destroy us, and they have some of us who are culpable because everybody is not shot by a white police officer.
That's right. That's right.
Everybody is not. When Mr. D was killed, the 3 black police officers that searched him never said, "We searched him, we know he didn't have a gun."
Never.
They never said, "We searched him, we know he didn't have a gun."
Right.
Julius used to be the police. Could you miss a 40 caliber gun?
Not the way they searched him.
You couldn't.
You almost turned
It's
It's the
impossible.
backlash they was gonna get.
Took
So-
our plans down.
So my point being this: if they won't do right by us, we got to organize.
Yes.
We got to take the group and actually educate them in how to be empowered, how not to back off at the first sign that you might be failing. People told us concerning the weeping time, well, it's all over. It ain't all over. We are still in court. Let's wait till the judge say something. And then when the judge when she said what we don't like, Court of
take it out.
Appeals. Court of Appeals, then the Georgia State Court of Superior Court, and then the 11th Circuit, and then the Supreme Court. We just fight till we get tired, because the fight ain't over till we say it's over.
That's right.
And they expect us not to protest. They expect us not
I can't
to have a voice and to say anything. They expect us not to boycott certain things. That's what they know. They know that we'll do something for 2 or 3 days and
And
quit.
won't do it anymore.
Amen.
And
Yes.
there's not
We got to
enough,
be united.
there's not
Until we
enough
get
of us.
united, they're not going to listen to a thing we say because they say they don't have no staying power. We got to show them that we have staying power.
Yes. Okay, with that being said, y'all, I know it's late, and I want to thank my guests tonight for coming on here, and I want to thank all of you all that are watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. And listen, you know how you go and you have conversations in your community, in your homes, about certain things, about the housewives, about TikTok, about trivial things, crazy things. You need to have serious conversations about what's happening in our community as it relates to our police department. Okay? I want to thank y'all so much. My viewing audience, thank y'all so very much. This will not be the last conversation that we have. JP, Maestro, Julius, Tanya, Oakland,
And I got
David, everybody.
I actually got the police officer guy going to come to the show next week so we can have insight from their perspective.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because I like to have the conversations, the hard conversations from both ends of the spectrum.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? When you just hear on one side of things, sometimes it get, you know, the people don't understand. But I just like to hear both sides. But he actually an officer that agrees, or a former officer that agrees with us, and he knows some of the nuances.
Is his
and
name
stuff
the one downstairs?
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin Grogan, if you're watching, I want you to come on as well.
Yeah.
With
So-
that being said, y'all, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Well, no, y'all. Hey, all I'm saying is, hey, I appreciate y'all. Hey, the power in our hands. Just like my man said, I couldn't agree with more than, because you answered the questions that I had, and it's about mobilizing and organizing
Yes.
and stuff like that. The problem is that we got the power. We are the majority in Savannah, and it don't make we make the world go round. You know what I'm saying? We make everything tick, from music to clothes to popular culture to everything. You know what I mean? It don't make sense that everybody gets the profit and benefit from what we do. You know what I mean? So we got the power, we gotta execute it, we gotta use it. You know what I mean? And everybody know that whenever we have these conversations, especially when we have our conversations with the men and the guys, my thing always is that, you know, we talk, but we never execute.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's my problem. That's the problem I have, because you know how many times I done sat with guys and tried to mobilize and made things happen. We had this conversation many times, and we'll sit here right here and all sit and talk, and then go our separate ways and forget we all exist. You know what I'm saying?
You need a couple of successes to encourage your people.
Right.
Yes.
That's how winners keep winning.
Yes, it is.
Winners keep winning. You know, winners keep playing.
That's right.
So we're gonna need some successes. I'm gonna show you how to get some.
That's
All right. Now, with that being said, I won't lose my audience. Y'all listen. Join us for this virtual event. Someone gave this to me. A child care town hall, June 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. Share your child care experiences in Chatham County with your elected officials. That's 9to5.org, Child Care Town Hall. Also, tomorrow, Entrepreneurial Center for our young people. They have the entrepreneurial class. I believe it's from 1 to 2. If I don't have the paperwork in front of me, check it out. And then the very next day, they have the credit course. You can do it online or you can do it virtually. With that being said, y'all, what my eyes see and my ears hear determine what comes out of my mouth. I no longer raise hell babies. I am raising awareness. You don't like what I say, don't hate me. He made me this way. And he educated me. That being said, I love y'all. God bless you.
Amen.
Peace out.